What is lo-fi sci-fi? Here on lofiscifi.com, it says it's movies that have more speculation than spectacular effects, more focused on big ideas than big budgets. This is a collaborative video. I don't need to read the rest. So, minimalist sci-fi with huge concepts. Think Black Mirror. What I think is really interesting about that is I think this is a TV film only genre, right? You can't really have a low budget book, but technically some of the most interesting sci-fi books could become lo-fi adaptations. This genre is completely about the visual presentation being simple and letting the ideas drive the narrative. Some of these movies and ideas are seriously bonkers. The most famous example probably of lo-fi sci-fi besides Black Mirror is Spike Jonze's Her. I've actually always wanted to watch this movie, so I'm excited to finally check it out. So I feel kind of dumb about this, but I actually didn't realize Her was starring Joaquin Phoenix until the movie was playing, even though I've seen this movie poster a million times. I guess it just goes to show how good of an actor he is. First of all, what a gorgeous looking movie, especially his workplace. All of these colors together are eye candy. I love the way movies of this genre do small, unique things with the set design to make it feel futuristic, or at least not quite of our reality. It's very interesting. Visually, Her actually reminds me a little bit of a less cohesive Severance.
Lumen's having a bunch of people over this weekend.
Wait, Lumen? Anyways, this film is becoming more and more accurate by the day. Like, it's funny how much more prominent these sort of games have become. And this is just the same as people giving their homework or emails to ChatGPT.
I did the corrections in red. I altered a couple of the phrases and some of the more impressionistic letters, but I'm not much of a poet, so I think I might have messed them up a bit.
So the movie itself is about a man who falls in love with his AI assistant. Throughout the movie, she slowly becomes more and more personally tailored to Joaquin Phoenix and what he likes and wants, increasing his parasocial relationship with her exponentially. He even meets a real-life hot girl that's super into him, and he turns her down because of the AI. It is spooky for sure, especially because real-life people are kinda starting to do this right now. To be fair to Joaquin Phoenix, at least he can also have like weird mind sex with his AI where they both apparently feel it. But then the AI starts getting predictably jealous of real women too. This movie is also hilarious actually. I laughed often at just the absurdity of things and also the writing itself.
Is she a girl?
Yeah?
I hate women. All they do is cry all the time.
I had pretty high expectations for the movie. Like I said, I've been excited to watch it pretty much since it came out. And yeah, luckily it met my expectations. Why hasn't Spike Jonze made another movie since? Gattaca is kind of a weird movie. There are parts of it and things about it that I truly love, but at the same time, it's honestly kind of just boring. Like, I don't regret watching it at all. Actually, I'm pretty happy I did watch it. There are some lines and moments that are probably going to stick with me forever, but, you know, there's also no way I'm ever going to want to sit through this again, even to show it to someone. So, Gattaca is a place where babies are born with a transcript of their likelihood for death and every disease. Our main character, Vincent, is born with a 99% chance of dying to a fatal heart condition. So he's immediately kind of just written off by society as someone who won't live long enough to do anything valuable or be anyone important. Then his parents have another kid, his younger brother Anton, who is born with basically perfect stats. The two grow older and dream of exploring the stars, which is an easy goal for Anton, but Vincent isn't even allowed to try. This world calls the kids with bad stats degenerates. At first I thought it was just a mispronunciation, and then I was like, oh, that's actually so stupid and hilarious. So things only change for Vincent after meeting Jerome, another kid with perfect stats who is wheelchair bound after being in an accident and breaking his legs. He doesn't want anyone to know he's not perfect anymore, so he regretfully allows Vincent to take his identity. So Vincent becomes Jerome.
I guess that's it.
and is now allowed to be a spaceman. And the whole tension of the movie is Jerome Vincent going through this space academy and coming up with some pretty smart and fun to watch schemes to avoid being caught and exposed for who he really is. Also, this movie is just really nice looking. It's unique and kind of retro futuristic, I guess, but I do still just think this movie would have benefited from a bigger scale. Alright, The Man from Earth is a pretty interesting idea for a movie, for sure. This is the only one I'm looking at in this video that would be much better with an actual budget, or at least just a real plot, I guess. The movie starts with awkward banter between this group of colleague friends as they arrive at the place of their fellow professors' going away party. These do not feel like an actual group of friends. I don't really know if it's the writing or the acting, but I kind of think it's both. And the fact that they all look so randomly cast, I guess. I don't know, these people just don't feel compatible. And the plot basically comes from the professor that is hosting the party revealing to the rest of them that he's been alive since the beginning of time.
John just confided that he's 14,000 years old.
And then the entire movie is just them talking to each other. It's boring and mostly cringe.
Oh, John, you don't look a day over 900.
He basically thinks that he's a caveman. He doesn't really know what he is himself. He just knows he's been alive on Earth for thousands of years, and everyone he knows dies. He pretends to fit in different places for 10 years at a time before moving on to somewhere else, and they spend the entire movie just questioning and discussing with him his life, and if he's serious about it all, as well as the parameters of and possible reasons for it. I thought the man was going to be an alien, but actually it turns out he's Jesus.
All the speculations about Jesus. He was black, he was Asian, he never existed at all. Now he's a caveman.
Yeah, this movie by design is entirely just exposition. Legitimately 100% dialogue. There's only 2 film locations inside this cabin and outside of it, and I'm okay with that when it's deserving of it, like 12 Angry Men or something. But for real, this movie at least needed like other footage spliced in the situations he's talking about, like flashbacks while he's talking or something. It needed something, anything. I really just thought this was an extremely boring watch. It could have been a lot better. I will say though, this movie has changed my opinion on if books can be lo-fi sci-fi. I think if this were made into a book, where it's just the characters in a room talking about fantastical science fiction-y things in one room in this one house, yeah, that counts as a lo-fi sci-fi book, I think. So I think a lo-fi sci-fi book would be if a high budget wouldn't be necessary, or if it wouldn't add anything to the story, right? Like maybe Flowers for Algernon, or House of Leaves. Before you go to bed, my baby. Now this is how you make a low budget movie in one location. The one I love is shot almost entirely in this main house and this guest house that almost even look identical, and the grounds in between them. But it's actually interesting the entire way through, and it's told almost exclusively through dialogue and exposition, just like The Man from Earth was. And instead of 7 characters, there's only 2. Well, 4, kind of. This movie's actually so insane. So it's about this couple that's having marriage troubles. So their marriage counselor suggests them to go on a couples retreat vacation to relax and unwind together and try to repair their relationship. They're having fun, hanging out and drinking together. They smoke some weed and the husband falls asleep on the couch. Then the wife wanders outside into the guest house where the 2 of them have sex in the guest house. Then she leaves the guest house and goes back to the main house and lays with him still napping on the couch. And she asks, "How'd you get back here so fast?" He starts saying, "What do you mean? I've been napping since you left." And she's like, "But we just had sex." They start arguing whether they have or haven't. She goes upstairs to the bedroom and he investigates the guest house, where he falls asleep with her on the guest bedroom couch. So yeah, sorry if I made that confusing, but it's not until they each wake up that they both slowly piece together that there is some sort of doppelganger or alternate dimension version of themselves on the property, only manifesting when each of them is alone. Yeah, it's basically Us, but more sci-fi romance than horror. And no, it's not a horror, even though it's a little creepy, intense, and also stars Mark Duplass from Creep creep. I'm also happily surprised at how much more interesting and convoluted this plot got than I expected. It's just super fun, and it had an amazing ending too. And finally, we get to Primer. This is probably the perfect example of lo-fi sci-fi. This movie only cost $7,000 to make. And for $7,000, this movie is an absolute masterpiece. Such a sick movie, for real. I haven't really been able to get it out of my head since I watched it. So Primer is about these entrepreneurs and their startup business selling routers or something. I don't remember, and it's not at all important. But in the meantime of selling these routers, they're trying to create a device that will make the routers cheaper, I think. Whatever. They're building this box, and they put things inside the box to test it, and when the things come back out, they have this weird kind of mold build up on them. So they take a tiny amount of this mold to these scientists who say that it would take them years to grow the amount of mold brought in. So they build a bigger box. How it works is they wake up in the morning and check the stock markets, then go to a hotel room alone for 8 hours to not interact with anyone or anything. Then at the end of the day, they check the stock markets again before getting inside the box. Spending 8 hours inside, they then get out of the box 8 hours back in the past, where the first versions of themselves are heading to the hotel for the day. And they can go back in the past with the box as much as they want, but not before the creation of the box. So this movie just gets insane as these two start using the box in secret from each other, and one of them actually even made a secret backup box that the other one discovers, so they're both also secretly using that and even bringing the other box into the box. It gets insane. I'm sure my explanation of it barely even made sense or didn't make sense. Basically, they build these time travel boxes, right? And there's timelines on timelines happening at the same time. You don't even realize it the first time watching. They both think they're one-upping each other with their use of the box secretly, but they both just actually have no idea what is even happening anymore by the end of the movie. It's so sick. It feels so grounded and realistic, like it could actually happen way more so than I've ever thought from a time travel story. I also really like the dialogue in this movie. It feels so naturally paced to me, like real conversations do. There's the shot I want to show you that to me was genius because of the dialogue right before it.
You're talking about making a bigger one. So you believe me?
Shots like this are the perfect example of how to make a low-budget movie feel not low budget. I just love these kind of small-scale time travel stories. They start out with illusions of grandeur, you know, like how can we rule the world or fix it or just get obscenely rich or whatever. And they always end up going so wrong, and it turns into a small-scale personal issue that needs to be fixed, like in the first Back to the Future or Steins Gate or the GOAT Minutemen. My girlfriend also reminded me of one of the best Phineas and Ferb episodes. Speaking of Steins Gate though, it's definitely lo-fi sci-fi too, and honestly I think Primer is the most similar thing I've seen to it. These are two of my absolute favorite stories ever, especially to do with time travel. Now you understand lo-fi sci-fi. There's a ton more media in this genre. Sadly, you probably won't recognize very much of it. This is a really cool genre, and I think it deserves a lot more recognition, especially as indie films. These surely have some really high potential, right? Where is all the A24 lo-fi sci-fi stuff? Let me know if there's any big movies I missed. Is there any A24 lo-fi sci-fi stuff that I didn't notice? Also hit the like button if you enjoyed yourself. You might be surprised how much you personally can help spread the video if you want to. And subscribe if you want to see me talk about more dope stuff. I'm trying to make videos like minimum weekly. This video was supposed to be out way sooner. I was waiting for my mic to get here. It got here, and problems on problems. So I just decided to record this with this old horrible mic I have again. But new mic soon. 100 subscribers already. Thank you guys. I love you.